Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion in the second half of my daily astrology podcast, which you can see on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Here I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page. Then we'll do a quick rundown of the day's aspects and transits before we play another card, which usually gives us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that sits on the side of the page has changed as of today. We are now up to the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups relates astrologically to the last 10 days, the third 10 days or the third decan of the sun's transit in the sign of Cancer. So here we are in the sun's last third of its transit through the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is a water sign and cups are water in tarot. The water element represents our feelings, our emotions, our intuitions, and also sort of our creative capacity, like even our literal fertility capacity, okay? So water, Four of Cups at this time, Four of Cups here at this time. This is Four of Cups. It doesn't change. It might be different from deck to deck. But basically, this gets across a feeling of apathy in general, right? We see this person sort of sitting there, almost looking as though they'd rather be somewhere else. Definitely looking pretty uninterested, or perhaps unaware of this offer that seems to be coming in from the heavens. And that would be like an offer of creativity, intuition, or emotion, right? And they're looking sort of dejectedly at these other three cups, like, I think I've maybe had enough of what I of what I can see here, right? Or what I can feel here, what I can stomach in terms of emotional experiences at this time. So it gets across apathy. There's a sense of contemplation, maybe thinking about what we've already been through, but also a disconnection from what's going on around us. There's a potential here that we could be ignoring gifts, or we could be ignoring some creative potential in our lives. And, this will come across as acting like we don't care, when probably really we do. I mean, you don't make a face like that if you really don't care, do you? Maybe you do. All right, so this is the card for apathy, or in my other in my other deck, in my Modern Witch Tarot deck, there's a person sitting on the page and they're wearing a sweatshirt that says "over it," and I like that. I like that sort of description too. They just feel kind of over it, like not interested in any of the emotions that are on offer to me, or that I have already been through at this moment. Okay, and it's okay to feel some apathy and to feel over it. It's always great to retreat if you feel like you have become overwhelmed with emotions of any kind. Okay, it can be a good idea just to sort of retreat and to sit with yourself and to be quiet and to think about what you have experienced, right? But we want to make sure and remember that those aren't the only experiences that we are capable of having, that there are other ones coming our way, and we have to be, at some point willing and able to experience something else, something new. Okay, and then with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Cancer. Last 10 days of Cancer, friends. So, this is going to be a time when those Cancer themes become a little more strong for us, okay? Those themes of nurture and protection, especially initiating care, nurture and protection for ourselves and for others and for our homes. Mercury is also in Cancer, so we really know how we feel at this time, but the communication might come out a little indirect or a little bit sideways. We might have to show people how we feel, show people that we care, not so much as saying it. Although if saying it works for you, then just say it, right? But like I said, since we're in this last 10 days of the sun in Cancer, just expect that to be a little more intense in terms of the feelings in general, the feeling vibe in general, and our sense of attachment is really going to be obvious to us and on display for us and other people. On the moon side of the page, we have this waxing gibbous moon that will be full tomorrow. It goes into Capricorn very early this morning. So you've got a cardinal water sign on one luminary and a cardinal earth sign on the other luminary. This is a great time to be starting something, actually, even though we're just headed toward the finish line. It's also a great time to be starting something because, especially if it involves the additional support and security of the home. Otherwise, that waxing gibbous moon says, here we are almost at the full moon. We need to tie up the things that we have been working on. We want to finish culminating our goals and fix everything up so that tomorrow we can take a pause, we can take a break and look back and appreciate what we have done for the past month. Okay, that's what we do with the full moon. And the full moon in Capricorn, that Capricorn is so worker mode that it's probably going to feel like, yeah, yay, we did this, but there's so much more to do, so let's get back to it, right? Don't forget to take your pause, friends. And then on the moon side of the page today, moon goes into Capricorn. We're TCB today, taking care of business. And then moon goes trine to Mars just after noon today. This is a blessing of power and purpose. It's we feel especially strong and forthright and assertive. We feel positive about the way we feel. And we also feel as though we could step up and protect ourselves and our loved ones if we needed to at this time. So that's really good. And then at 3 o'clock this afternoon, moon goes square to Jupiter. Moon and Jupiter, always a good time together, always just feeling expansive, feeling our growth and wanting to share what we've learned with other people. And that square aspect just comes in and says, yeah, try not to overindulge in any of those celebratory substances while you're doing that. On the sun side of the page, where we explore our expression, our self-expression, moon, it goes square to Chiron tonight, late at 11:08. This can bring up some differences of opinion. There might be some interpersonal conflict that comes up, okay? This is our thoughts and our desire to heal, okay, in a challenging position to one another. So we're thinking about what it's going to take to heal this, and now we have to think about how we're going to act to get there, right? Right. And then Venus goes trine to Saturn today, also at 11:27 tonight. And this is like a blessing, receptive to the practical, okay? The trine there is the blessing, and the Venus is receptive and Saturn is practical, even when it is retrograde. So this can be a good time to take a risk. This can also be a good time to meet somebody new. Relationships formed under this aspect can have staying power. And, if you already have a relationship, it's a good time to be seeking, practical solutions for yourself, thinking about your next steps or, thinking about how you're going to heal what needs to be healed in terms of that relationship so that you have a more practical, grounded space for this relationship to thrive in, right? In the ongoing column, Mercury is square to Jupiter just through today. This is, it's like Jupiter's appetite for expansion and growth and new things can be so overwhelming to our rational minds sometimes that it's hard to stay on task. It's hard to focus, on the details of the task at hand, on what's going on today when Jupiter's got us thinking about all the possibilities and potentials, right? So, we have to just try to focus. That's what that square says. Like, how are you going to act when you get distracted? You're going to focus in. Sun is square to Chiron right now. Mercury went square to Chiron today, and Sun is square to Chiron. And this is like feeling unexpressed, feeling like somebody has a little too much to say about how you do what you do, and maybe a feeling of restriction somewhere in your personal life. It's going to be important at this time to maintain our sense of autonomy, even if it might not be a very good time to be sort of asserting ourselves, okay? So we want to be careful about yeah, maintaining our freedom, but understand that asserting ourselves, especially with Mercury square to Jupiter here, one of the warnings there is that we'll say something, just unkind or something that we don't mean, right? And we don't want to do that. Sun is also sextile to Uranus right now, though, and it says try something new. So, it comes together pretty nicely, right? Feeling unexpressed, try something new. Or do you feel like you can't say what you want to say and do what you want to do in the situation you're in? Well, perhaps you should try something different. It's a possibility. And then Pluto is retrograde through October 8th. Saturn is retrograde through October 22. Neptune is retrograde through December 23. This is deep and total change. We're looking at the ways in which we are looking at the ways in which we give our power away to habits, to things, to people, to systems, and how we can make new starts to get that power back. And over here, we're looking at the ways that we have maintained our responsibility to the collective and probably being asked to recommit. And down here, I would say, it's like truth-telling time. It's a time when we can look in the mirror and see what is really there. And it may not be our favorite view in the mirror. My face is my favorite view in the mirror, but it may not be our favorite thing to see the reality of things, but it's better than being deluded or misled or, fooling yourself, right? So with all of that said, I'm going to Justice. Okay, so immediately this makes me think of my Libras out there. If you have a lot of Libra sign influence in your life, this might have something to do with you. Justice is a major arcana card, so the intention of the message here is meant to be more impactful. And it's about, balance. It's about finding out the truth, having the facts, sorting them out, deciding what is fair to everybody involved, and trying to give a balanced decision in our lives, regarding what's going on with us, okay? Trying to give balance, to have balance, make balanced decisions in our lives. Ooh, that's not good. What the heck? Right. Sorry about that, friends. Lights went out on Justice, friends. Okay, so we wanna try to parse out the details of our situation and seek balance, and especially in our relationships. Okay, Cancer is very interested in our attachments, right? The people that we're attached to, the things that we're attached to, and also, Justice represents Libra, which is ruled by Venus. It's about our relationships, and we seek balance in our relationships as well. So, taken out here, I see this Mercury trine Saturn, Venus square Neptune thing happening here, and so I see, Venus trine Saturn, Venus square Neptune thing here. And I see, a question about balance coming in there between, being receptive to the practical and what happens when we're receptive to the fantasy and how we act when the fantasy doesn't really, bring us what's practical, or, perhaps what's practical is, no, in this case, we're really going to love more what's practical than what represents the fantasy. But we have to have a balance, right? What's practical for us should also meet some of those needs in terms of our desires and our dreams being met. There's a balancing here saying that if we feel like we can't behave the way we would like to behave, or the way we would naturally behave, perhaps we need to try something different, perhaps in terms of the company we are keeping, or, the way that we're trying to express ourselves. Maybe that's not working for us. And this is a balance too, because Mercury is struggling to stay on task. Mercury is on task by definition, okay? But Jupiter's like out here going, hey, look at all these great glossy possibilities that are out here for you. You know, don't you want to think about this stuff? And Mercury's head gets full of all those possibilities, and then it can't pay attention to the day-to-day details. And that's what Mercury is about. So Jupiter, quit messing around. We got to focus, right? Okay, and as far as balance goes in terms of the Four of Cups, or justice goes in terms of the Four of Cups. You know, I mean, there's an air of just consideration around this, right? There's an air of contemplation, and justice is about contemplation as well. Okay, we have to really sit with the truth. We have to sort out from it, you know, what is emotional and what is factual, and we have to, you know, make a choice as to whether, you know, the next gift that we accept is going to be, you know, uh, on what terms we are going to accept it. Yeah. You know, and that's like justice for your heart, right? You know, if you've had a few emotional experiences, and you're just kind of like sitting there scratching your head like, what the heck was all of that? Maybe I just don't want anymore, right? Well, then it's time to really look back on it, you know, um, and really decide for yourself what about it was something that you don't find acceptable, or what about it is something that you really don't want to happen again for you, so that when you're ready to take in the next offer, this is like dating, right? It's a little bit like dating. So you met a few people out there, and all of those experiences were just strange and bad in ways all their own, and now you've got to think about how you're going to go forward in the next you know, opportunity to see a new person comes along. You want to make sure that you're receptive and open to something that is practical for your well-being. Yes, I like that. Okay, friends, I think that's all I have to say about it today. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.